Hello everyone, welcome back at my next series of videos at my YouTube channel or any other platform where I'm posting these videos. And I decided that I start another series of videos about my lovely, basically, topic, which are the countries of the world. And as I'm sometimes amazed how many people just travel the world without actually any knowledge or any like thorough and deeper information about the regions or countries where they are traveling. And I don't want to actually complain about that, but I decided that maybe these videos can help someone to gain some knowledge when they travel the world, because as I'm residing in Egypt, and many people as tourists, they come here and they just basically don't know anything except the pyramids and maybe the Red Sea and diving and eating at the hotels, the good food. That's all, which I'm surprised, because this country is basically one of the oldest countries of the planet, basically the oldest, and also very large, which is incomparable to many other countries which these tourists come from. So that's why I decided these videos might be useful for someone. All these information are basically on Wikipedia or any other encyclopedic information on Google. So of course, but the people usually don't have time or don't have so much time to study it deeper, and maybe these videos might be of any use. And especially when they are, I will try to make it actually as brief as possible. And in a nutshell, the first video definitely will be in a nutshell. And then, of course, I want to continue and to focus especially on ancient Egypt, which is my beloved interest since my young age. But of course, also the modern history and modern Egypt is very interesting, and a lot of facts are quite interesting, especially for European American tourists, because a lot of people just don't know anything. So let's go deeper into this topic. And basically, what is Egypt? Is a country linking Northeast Africa with the Middle East. So basically, geopolitically, it is Middle East because of its linking, actually. But geographically, it is Africa. Of course, it's Northern Africa, which a lot of people don't understand, because Egypt was actually, ancient Egypt, conquered by Arabs, and that's why people here speak Arabic language, because they were conquered by Arabs, but they are not Arabs. A lot of people just mix it up. They think that Egyptians are Arabs, which are completely not correct information. They are Egyptians, and one of the oldest population of the planet, basically, because ancient Egypt was one of the oldest empires, which lasted almost 4,000 years. It depends. Some sources tell you 3,500 years, 4,000 years, 4,500 years. It depends which date we take as the beginning of ancient Egypt and history of pre-Pharaonic Egypt, and then Pharaonic Egypt, and then modern Egypt. It dates to the time of the Pharaohs. Millennia-old monuments sit along the fertile Nile River Valley, including Giza's colossal pyramids and Great Sphinx, as well as Luxor's hieroglyph-lined Karnak Temple and Valley of the King's Tombs, which are now, I actually said to you, the basic sites why Egypt has been the country of many tourists and visitors because of this, especially this, and of course Red Sea and diving. The capital is Cairo, is home to Ottoman landmarks like Muhammad Ali Mosque and the Egyptian Museum, which is a trove of antiquities, and now there will be official opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum, so it will be another huge event. So, capital is Cairo, the currency is Egyptian pound, official language is Arabic, as I explained to you, because they were conquered by Arabs, and sort of with soft power, the population actually step by step transferred from Coptic language and old hieroglyphic language and Coptic language to Arabic language. So population basically speak Arabic, but they are not Arabs, they are Egyptians, 100% Egyptians, and they have, it's a specific nationality and actually nation, and they are not Arabic. origin, yes. Population, according to the World Bank of 2022, is 111 million. Some sources say 2024, according to another sources, 106 million. Well, I would say 111 million, and plus there are 9 million to 10 million foreign visitors or immigrants who are actually residing in the country, including all the refugees from Libya, Sudan, Syria, and including immigrants like official immigrants or expats. Actually, like, we can actually then focus more on some other topics, but this is in a nutshell. It's a huge country which is incomparable to any other country in Europe, for instance, except Russia, of course, which is not basically completely geographically only European country, because half of the country, or 3/4 of the country, is actually in Asia geographically. But yes, Russia, as when we take it as a European country, is basically bigger by population. Well, officially it is the Arab Republic of Egypt, as I said, because they were conquered and then they accepted this. And it's transcontinental countries spanning the northeast, actually Corn of Africa, Sinai Peninsula in the southwest, and then further to Middle Eastern countries. Well, the next interesting is that it's a huge and powerful country, and it's considered to be a regional power in North Africa, the Middle East and the Muslim world, and the middle power worldwide, yes? So it's actually middle power country. But in Middle East, it has the biggest army, and it's basically a regional power. Well, Egyptian army is one of the really big armies of the world, and what is interesting that we know also the numbers and statistics of the ancient Egyptian army. Over 4,000 infantry of an army corps were organized into 20 companies between 200 and 250 men each. The Egyptian army is estimated to have had over 100,000 soldiers at the time of Ramses II, which is actually 19th dynasty, which is circa 1,300 year before Christ. There were also companies of Libyans, Nubians, Canatians, Sherdans, which were Greek, who served in Egyptian armies. So ancient Egypt was actually not also like just Egyptians. There were a lot of different nations and nationalities. Well, I would say that nowadays is also a huge army. I think its estimate is, what I found, estimate is it is 15th biggest army of the planet from 145 countries, which were actually being considered into these calculations. They have 1,130 aircrafts and so on. I'm not going to go into details about that. But ancient Egyptian civilization, which I'm going to focus later on, was one of the most powerful and longest lasting civilizations to occupy the earth. According to some analysis, part of its durability and why it was so powerful empire for such a long time was because of openness to influences from other cultures and its malleability or its flexibility in the face of demographically diverse population. So basically it is so interesting that they accepted a lot of different nationalities, nations, and different population. This flexibility actually keep them under control, and even though they were sometimes conquered, they were also ruled by other nationalities or nations, but they still actually somehow kept the power of ancient Egypt. And this openness of the influences, they accepted a lot of different influences from different cultures. Well, I think that we made this in a nutshell, the introduction. And then I would like to focus on land or people or economy, a little bit government, but my focus would be primarily on ancient Egypt, because that's very interesting, and as I'm always reading something about, and discoveries here are basically on everyday basis, because this climate, a very hot and dry climate, actually helps them to preserve a lot. We know a lot of information because of hieroglyphs, because of their very, very well preserved mummies, temples, books of dead, papyri. So yes, that's, I would say, is the most interesting about this country, which is now basically called Egypt, but the Egyptians, ancient Egyptians, called their country Kemet, which literally means, when you translate it, the black land or the black soil, which in ancient Egyptians was black Kemet. The name derived from the color of the rich and fertile black soil, which was due to the annually occurring Nile inundation. So, the Nile is the longest river of the planet, is actually here, and I think you heard about that without the Nile, without this river, and ancient Egyptians called the Nile the river because they actually didn't have the clue about the rest of the world. They were thinking that the ancient Egypt, or Egypt, which covered the present, current, modern Egypt plus Nubia, or the northern Sudan, that all was actually the ancient Egypt. That was all what they knew. So the river, which was the Nile for them, was in their language just the river. And Kemet, they call themselves Kemet because of the black soil or black land, because this richness and fertility of the Nile was for them the crucial point, and why actually the ancient Egypt was established, why they settled here, was the Nile, of course. So the name is realized as the Kemet, Keme, in Bohairic Coptic or Isahidic Coptic, which was the old ancient language, as I mentioned, and is in this actually stage of the Egyptian language was Coptic. But later, when Egypt was actually conquered and later discovered by especially philosophers of ancient Greece, so Greek philosophers, they started to call it Egypto, or Egypt, or first Kemia, Kemet. First it was different in ancient Greek, but later they actually transferred it to Egypto, Egypt, which was actually basically translation of Kemet into Greek language. So again, black soil or black land, land of blacks, because of course for ancient Greeks, the ancient Egyptians were basically darker people or black people, which is not true because they are not black people, they are basically mulattoes or darker or very, very whiter or basically it's sort of mix, a lot of mix skin colors are here. And well, that's why it's Kemet, and for them it was still. But in modern Arabic, the country is Misr or Masr. I think they call it Masr because from Arabic language, again, you can see it on many banners or somewhere on titles in Egypt, Misr, or when it's written Misr in Latin form, then you can say that that's Egypt in Arabic language. So yes, this fertility of the Nile is the pivotal, and is actually everything what we can say about ancient Egypt, and even modern Egypt without the Nile wouldn't exist. Well, I think for the beginning and in a nutshell is a good introduction, and it's enough, and thank you very much. See you next time in the next video.